The new kids are just problematic.
One.
Yeah.
And I'll be with the New Game Plus executive producer, Jason O'Callaghan, as usual. Well, there you go. Count 2, 1. I'm good at that. Another big week in news. I've got a whole heap of stuff in. There's
we should preface it saying there's been big storms, so if we do suddenly cut out of power or cut out of recording, we'll fix it up later.
Yeah, there were sirens as well before, so either there's an emergency nearby or Peter Dunn's been reading my Twitter feed.
Yeah, they're on their way.
So that's how it goes. Actually, it was there's another commie Christmas for you yesterday.
Wow.
Well, because we have Labor Day.
Yet?
Yeah, May Day's another. Is that commie Easter?
That's 5th. That's on the 5th, isn't it?
I thought May Day was May 1st. What's that a commie of you?
Yeah, I thought it was May 5th. Oh, no, you're right. It was May 1st. You're right. I'm an idiot. Yeah, because they roughly were out in the city on Saturday. You're right.
Yeah, so is that commie Christmas or commie Easter? Which one is that?
It's more, I don't know.
Which one, Labor Day or May Day? Which one's
May Day's the international one. So I guess it's, it makes sense that it falls on Greek Orthodox Easter Saturday, if we're going to make that comparison. So, yeah. So Labor Day, no. Yes, no, that was. Oh, you're right. That was yesterday.
Happy commie other Christmas.
Yeah. I'm thinking D-Day. I'm getting my
D-Day.
Yeah, D-Day is the 5th of May, isn't it?
Oh, well, that was in a way commie.
Yeah.
They got the shit Nazis and stuff. So
yeah.
That'd be Antifa.
That was the other front. You got to go to the other.
Antifa wankers that are like showing D-Day landing things, going, "That's us on Twitter." Yeah. No, the other guys are being shot at. There's a big difference. Yeah. So let's get this to gaming news.
Sure.
Remember that? Okay, what we got? Konami's the latest big company to pull out of E3. E3 is dead. Look, our video's gone.
No, it's fine. This fucking thing's been doing this, and it's starting to shit me.
It's actually because I said E3, so the video came.
Yeah.
E3. E3's dead.
Peter Dutton. That's what happens in the AFP. They're about to throw the smoke grenade through the.
Yes, hello, Agent Johnson. I think he listens to my stuff. I've got a Google Home at home, so I'm sure they listen to everything I do. Yeah.
No, look, it's Konami. It kind of doesn't matter. I hate to be that guy.
Well, they said they're working on something big. They couldn't show E3. Whatever, that was bullshit.
So the one of the rumors that I've heard about this, and this is again lately, there's been a lot of reasonably sized rumor mongers fighting each other. Not fighting each other for necessarily saying this person's wrong or this person's this.
Like Jake Paul KSI style?
Oh, I don't know about those Zoomer things, do you? You watch Minecraft. You watch Minecraft YouTubers, so don't look at me.
I do tend to. Well, I should listen to it because my daughter's always playing the Dream SMP stuff. Always, she is addicted to it.
Gronk, anyway.
So I do listen to a lot of that.
Yeah,
they do a good job. Anyway, keep going.
So I feel like there's a lot of them going back and forth. One of the big ones that's come out recently is basically Konami is having a lot of these bigger companies pitch in and say, we have our titles, do you want to release games license the game for this title and blah blah blah.
Really, they're long way down from the days of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, well, keep in mind that most of original Koji Pro, like the Kojima studio in Konami, is still there. So that's like the guys who made Survive. Like the guy who led Survive was a lot like one of the main guys who worked on the original Metal Gear Solid. It's just, it was obviously told he's a bit more malleable to the idea of just release whatever crap will sell, as opposed to Kojima, who was more like, I need to tell a story about a walking simulator with ghost babies.
Teach a horse how to poo at the same time.
Yeah.
So gaming come to its peak. That's the peak. It doesn't get any.
Look, realistically. Yes, I mean,
you can't even do that.
I don't think E3 being dead is a controversial statement, but I don't think that Konami not being there.
I've been saying it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
But we'll see Sony, EA, Activision, and now Konami are all out.
Yeah.
It's a video. Yeah, it's all. It's
Activision have nothing to show. I don't know. Like you've seen it by stealth. The what was it? Toy Box, Toys for Bob. Who did the Crash Bandicoot.
Didn't they get sacked or something?
They got enrolled into a Call of Duty backup studio.
Yeah.
What were they called? Vicarious Visions, who used to do a lot of the Tony Hawk work, got rolled in.
Yep.
So a lot of these studios just getting rolled into.
Toys for Bob did Skylanders.
Yes,
every second Skylanders that came out before Skylanders went mobile and everyone forgot about it.
Yeah.
Did you know it's still around?
I did not. I just don't know who's playing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody would be.
The gym. So yes, and Pez is for sure is true. That's that.
Pez like those things you do this and candy comes out.
Yeah, that's alright, boomer. I remember Pez dispensers, but it's a boomer thing.
I saw them on Porn Stars the other day.
Of course,
is that what it's called?
Yeah.
No, not the
PAWN.
The shop one.
Yes, and so so there's different departments, obviously, and then they've got the Pachinko department, and then they've got the game department. The game department's been pretty quiet. They've only had the Contra reboot and Bomberman. Maybe I'm forgetting something else, but they're the only two that I can think of.
They've fallen all the way, haven't they?
I mean, they just don't care about the core business of games. Whereas Konami is in a similar... Capcom is in a similar situation where it's a father-son, technically, like Dynasty, which is the Japanese love to do. But they are making gaming their core business. Honestly, if nothing else, the way that RE Engine works on Switch, that's wizardry. It's absolute wizardry. The fact that game runs at a stable 30 frames per second.
Is this the new Resident
Evil? Yeah. No. The new Monster Hunter.
The giant woman. The internet
seems
to be a little bit in love with.
So that's
what
I mean. So that game is on the current gen and the next gen consoles, right?
Yeah.
And that's using RE Engine. And then Monster Hunter on Switch is using RE Engine as well. So for me, I'm like, it's impressive how scalable that is to go from what is essentially a 360 powered handheld to modern consoles.
The Switch is a mobile phone with little Joy-Cons attached.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's a mobile shield tablet.
Is that a sign of how good the dev stuff has become on mobile phones?
I think it's both. I think it's definitely a case of the chipset, the Tegra chipset being, if nothing else, easy enough to develop to transfer across that information, but also, yeah, they've spent a lot of money because they used to have MT Framework for years. MT Framework was what every Capcom game was made on. Street Fighter 5, bunch of that stuff was all MT Framework. A lot of the old Resis from that era, MT Framework. Now this is their new engine, and I think every major publisher now has their own exclusive engine because they don't want to give Tim Sweeney a cent. So because Monster Hunter World was, I'm pretty sure that was Unreal Engine. And you could notice a difference from the old ones on, that basically were expanded 3DS games. Compare it to World, it's worlds apart, haha. But the Switch one, while it's going for a washed out specific kind of graphic style, art style, it doesn't look shit. It just looks like a specific art style, which is very different to those 3DS ones, which were kind of, we've got a screen that's normally 270 pixels or something like that, where you want to explode that up to normal size.
270 pixel screens used to be this big.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when you
look at a normal screen.
Yeah, if you're playing some of the Super Nintendo emulation on the Switch, when you can pick between options, you pick 4:3. Stretch, and so you can pick normal, so as in how it would have appeared in a CRT, strict 4:3, where it's it's a bit tighter, or you can go to expanded, as in if this game had a higher resolution from the chipset.
Oh yeah,
you can go to that. Which is, I just put it on the normal one, but it is interesting.
You know what I wish retro games had stopped doing on new consoles? Putting stupid art borders in.
I just have it black. I don't care.
Yeah. But if you're going to put a little diagram in, I don't want to look at the same diagram the whole game. I don't give a shit. Let me take it out.
Let me, if you can do that, have an option that is literally the controls for the game. Because a lot of the time, so I was playing the SNES Mini the other day, right? I wasn't here; it was out, and so I was playing the SNES Mini, and the instructions. I'm like, how do I do the super move again? I can't remember. And so I went back out to the menu and I went to instructions. It's here's the QR code. Use your phone to look at the instructions.
Playing a Virtual Fighter 5 or something, and the Dreamcast version having
that would be perfect. That's what I mean. That's the kind of stuff that I feel
just, kick. Punch, kick.
Yeah.
And
that's the standard for any 3D fighter.
That's That's all I know.
Yeah. Anyway, or Virtual Fighter Kids, we just mash it like this. I've seen you play.
You reckon that's mash? Tekken. Tekken's considered a serious game. That's a mash fest.
Yeah, that's a juggle fest. Yeah, well, it's got a lot better than it was, but yes, I won't disagree with you on that. I do not have a lot of love for Tekken. Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm going to hear that through the mic real bad. It's going to sound like they're knocking the door in. Yeah.
It's a story. That's how you play Tekken. Anyway, best fighting game ever, as we know, is Virtua Fighter Kids. Still, for some reason, Catch Warriors won't answer my request to insert that into the schedule, but there you go. Let's go for one. Since I noticed Oz is on, sorry to dox you, Oz. So there you go. Since Oz is on, Castlevania Collection. Now, I told Oz about Castlevania Collection on the Switch. I said, because that's
Castlevania,
7.
You mean Castlevania?
Well, whatever it is. What school did you go to?
That's where did you grow up?
Castlevania. I'm from Geelong. You're from Darwin.
Castle is Sydney.
Castlevania crap.
Castle is Sydney. It's a weird one. That's a weird one.
Castlevania.
Yeah.
So
Go America.
A game with that Dracula guy spelled backwards. Anyway, so so Castlevania collection. I told Oz about it. He said, no, I don't want to buy this digital. But guess what, Oz? I got news for you. It's getting a limited physical run. So you can actually buy Castlevania collection in a box now, Oz. Right. So there you go for Switch and PS4, I think.
Yeah, so it'll be in collaboration with Limited Run.
Yeah. Now I was just like, no Symphony of the Night. I know what that stands for because we played it on the Old Game Plus stream. It was one of the ones you wouldn't let me touch.
Well, watching you play that would have been torture though. It's like, what does this button do? Dead.
If I play the games, I was like, just give me the controller back and just talk, all right? So, all right, let's see another one. Halo Infinite is getting cross.
I did see that, yeah.
Cross-play and cross-progression, kind of cross-save, the same thing.
That's good.
Between
that's
Xbox and Windows.
Yeah, the fact that that's we have to call that out is, yeah.
Oh, look, all games should do it. In fact, it actually annoys me when, especially on the Switch, I buy a game I see for a few dollars on the Switch. I know it's not much, but if it's like $5, I'll buy it on everything.
Yeah.
So I'll buy it on Switch, I'll grab it on Steam. I don't care because only
I've got Gungeon on every platform. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Well, Gungeon's not saying because Gungeon's like new dungeons every time, right?
Yeah.
So saving your progress, limited.
Yeah.
But on some games, it'd be nice to be able to just like I've played it on my PC and now I've just picked up the Switch to pick up.
Well, I've clocked Red Dead Redemption twice, nearly 3 times on that basis. I had it on original Xbox 360. No, 60. Xbox
yeah, but that don't have cross save, does it?
No, and that's what I'm saying. So then I played it through on PC. And then I played it back through again on series, so like, yeah.
Oh, well, if it's a game like, say, Deus Ex, which is worth playing 6 times in a row without knowing how to play it. So, like, but yeah, some games would be nice to just, if I played it a bit, just to pick it up on the Switch and continue where I was.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So,
it'll be interesting with
more of it, please.
With Monster Hunter, because obviously that was a conversation about that turned out to not be true with Sony and cross saves for World. If there's cross saves for Rise, I'll transfer my save file from Rise to PC. I'd love that. That'd be fucking fantastic. You know what I mean? Even if I have to sign up for a Capcom account.
It can't be hard.
They're one of the last ones that don't do Capcom account. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it can't be hard anymore. Like, it's got to be easy to do that. Oz is still going in the chat about Symphony of the Night. He seems quite bothered by that. Yeah. Okay, sorry, Oz, for even mentioning it. He's not happy that Symphony of the Night is not in
the standard
edition of Castlevania, whatever collection. Castle, a real person, not some snotty ass private school. Well, I'm sure if you went to Liberal Party headquarters, they'd be going Castlevania. Yeah. You had Labor Party headquarters, they'd all be saying Castlevania. See,
I doubt it. Modern,
and the Greens would be going. Modern you're a Labour. Sexist gamer.
Yeah. Modern Labour. Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, because this is good news for anybody who thinks there's not enough friction and hate online. Super Mario Party on the Switch now has online play. So now you can get angry with random people on the internet. Finally!
That is 2 years after that game came out. I don't think they've added any extra boards. I don't think they've added any extra content.
It's just online play.
Just a random online button.
It's still kind of cool. It's still good.
It's not like, look, you can't fault them giving you free stuff for the sake of it, but I feel like there was a plan in place for that game that never came to fruition, and this is them going, well, we already have it. People whinge enough about it. Just release it. Do you know what I mean? Like
but if you get a bunch of people in one room playing Mario Party, by the end there's going to be controllers thrown. So look, this is not going to help.
And you get the stigmata.
This is not going to help online harmony at all. This is not going to.
I mean, the new one has less of the really bullshit games from memory when we did the review of it, but I mean that was 2 years ago in Japan, so yeah. Who knows? Maybe my brain was cooking from all the humidity.
All right. Well, Fall Guys, Xbox, and Switch has been delayed indefinitely, which means that window's gone, isn't it? That game now has no market. Look, it had a window. Sony grabbed it on PlayStation. Now it's gone.
It's still pretty populated. Like you still do. I would say compared to say like Among Us. You still find more games of Fall Guys than you will of Among Us, but Among Us is still pushing ahead because they're an indie dev. They never expected to make anywhere near the tens of millions of dollars they made.
No, good on them.
I mean, it's fine, but you want to talk about one that missed the boat, releasing that map now. They released it a month ago. They released a new airplane map, airship map
for
Among Us.
I don't play it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, my daughter plays a fair bit with her friends online. But
Oh, there you go. So maybe it's with the kids now.
Well,
because Fall Guys,
the Fall Guys, none of them play.
Fall Guys was never a good kids game because it requires a certain level of skill and trolling. Do you know what I mean? Like it sounds strange.
Try telling teenagers they're not skilled at a game.
Yeah.
That's an insult.
And so
it's the worst insult you can
I
do.
feel like compared to Among Us, where it's just like you Among Us with kids, I can see because they're still monkey brain trying to figure out the hierarchy of groups, so it's easy to exploit.
Yeah, they probably were chatting on Discord.
Yeah. Whereas when you're an adult, it's a bit easier to know who's a liar and who's not, or who's just going to like throw.
Yeah, it's everybody.
Yeah,
everybody is. So there you go.
I like to say of the times I've played it, and I haven't played it heaps. I played like maybe a dozen times. I was imposter twice. I won both times. So just saying.
Well, I actually haven't played Among Us.
Maybe I do need to look to be a Liberal Party politician. Nah, they don't even hide it anymore. They don't even lie about it. They just
I know. They're the imposter.
Who's the imposter? Every single one of them. It's like there's 8 imposters. Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah.
So you have to find the rapist.
Yeah.
Anyway, what we got next? I'll skip this one about the store fees and Sony. Okay. Now you would have seen last week Polygon did a stupid article.
I would have seen a Polygon article.
No,
for sure, man.
Polygon,
I'm all about them Polygon articles.
Okay, on Twitter, Polygon tweeted out an article they had about a new character in Apex Legends.
Yes.
And I think they're originally in Titanfall. I don't remember this stuff anyway.
Right.
And so the developers of Titanfall actually tweeted back saying, next time for your research, we recommend this.
Yeah.
And it was a link to play Titanfall 2, right? Anyway, after all that fuss and all that happened, by the way, Titanfall 2 had a 750% increase in players. so we're good on Polygon for getting a lot of free publicity for Titanfall. Because all these people all go, oh, don't pick on Polygon. No, pick on them. They're dickheads.
Because I thought it was Kotaku, but I mean, with birds of a feather. Realistically,
no, it's definitely Polygon, but yes, it is true.
I feel like because a lot of people say, oh, it's very unprofessional. I'm like, in the world of woke brands, in the world of everybody looking at Wendy's Twitter feed and going, oh my god, how funny is that? It was obvious that was what they were doing. They were riffing on it a bit.
Yeah, they were having some fun. Yeah,
and again, Americans.
But fun's not allowed anymore.
No, because Americans have to take everything literally. There is no such thing as subtext. It has to be literal.
I'm surprised
everything has to be a literal interpretation.
I'm surprised there's still comedy shows in America, but even then, that's all. I mean,
Jimmy Fallon's technically a comedy show. So are there comedy shows?
Well, true. Jon Stewart's coming back on Apple Plus.
Yeah, I wonder what's he doing though? Because he won't cut Trevor Noah's lunch because he's too honourable.
He's actually made a movie.
Has he?
It's coming out soon. No, he made a movie about politics. It'll be interesting to see. Because Jon Stewart's one of the most intelligent commentators about this stuff. And there's a big gap between him and everybody else. It's been pretty clear in the last 4 years.
The other day, and one of the things it was lamenting was the fact that you look even like the Dick Cavett show. You go back and you watch it. Dick Cavett. I always use the French inflection.
Cavett. Castle.
And they like he was meant to be a lighthearted chat show, right? As a general rule.
Yeah.
But then you'd have him. He had Marlon Brando on after Marlon Brando had the Native American woman accept the Oscar on his behalf and stuff like that. And it was him discussing
he also said Hollywood's run by Jews. he was just having fun.
Yeah. But then also...
How far can I go?
even like Johnny Carson did the same thing. Like Johnny Carson had him on there afterwards and discussing... And like they made jokes, but he played it straight. And I feel like even, you have Conan and stuff and... They used to have serious guests on and they'd have the conversations. And it was meant to be lighthearted. It was meant to be whatever. But it would be more comedy shows or more skits or more trying to make you laugh. Nowadays, it's literally just the same kind of group of celebrities patting themselves on the back. Like how, like Fallon and stuff, it's all just like, let's go, the example used in one of the videos I saw was like Post Malone and Jimmy Fallon go to Olive Garden. And it's like, what's the joke here? Is the joke that now they're eating like poor people, like good for them kind of thing? Like, why are you proud that you've never eaten shit food? Like, good for you, but why are you proud of that?
Olive Garden from the Sonic movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, like Olive Garden, Red
Sonic's
Lobster.
friend got a voucher.
Like, Olive Garden is like La Porchetta. Like, except without the mob ties.
Oh, so it's
allegedly. Without the alleged mob ties. Allegedly mob ties. it's just like that. It's like
that is a banner.
It's like shitty Italian.
Allegedly.
It's like passable Italian food, like Sophia's and stuff. Is it Sophia's? Yeah, Sophia's is the buffet one. Yeah, they're still one.
There's one near our house.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but that goes to show the gentrification of the suburbs. Croydon, prime position for that. This area, prime position for it. Not anymore. Like no one needs it. Italian buffets that are just full of empty cars.
Landlords won't deal with that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I going to say about that? Okay. My wife watched all the series on Netflix of comedians riding with comedians in cars. You missing that? Yeah. Seinfeld interview. Yeah. And you can actually tell. You can tell those comedians that the older ones that were genuinely funny. Yeah. Right, and Seinfeld's one. I reckon Seinfeld's pretty funny, right? I didn't love his show as much as you did, obviously. Didn't love Friends either, by the way. But
it's better than Friends. I'll get that conversation all day.
But he's a funny man. But when he's going through the Saturday Night Live crowd, at some point became not funny.
Yeah,
and it became like Will Ferrell, right? Not funny, right? And it just and he talked to him. It was obvious they weren't funny people because with
have you seen the episode with Jimmy Fallon? And
it's
so like there's an episode with him and Jimmy Fallon, and there's an episode with him and like Jay Leno, because him and Leno came up together, and so them going over their old man war wounds and Leno not supporting Seinfeld after he had gone to a spat with one of the comedy shows. There's all these interesting historical points, and he has one with Fallon, and Fallon's only thing is like, you've got such a light energy, a light spirit, and so that's his whole thing is like, so you're a magical pixie fairy who doesn't ask real questions, so therefore you're a good late night host. It's like, it doesn't work like that.
But you can tell the point where there's some point the American comedians stop being funny. Yeah, they stop being genuinely funny. They might have
Bill Maher's a big one for me on that. Maybe it's because I've grown out of him, but as he's gotten older, it's all millennials suck millennials. This, and I'm like, millennials are 40, 34. I'm 36. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the idea that he's a part owner of the Mets, and he's like upset that let young people watch Twitch, and it's like, well, hang on, you're part of a team where people just watch other people play baseball on thing and can't live that life themselves.
Well, and
then you're saying that that's a bad thing. It's like, shut up.
I try and explain that to people. Right? Watching esports is really the same thing.
It invokes exactly.
Yesterday, I watched the football. Right?
Yeah.
It's why
did you have fun watching that one?
Yeah, I actually fell asleep. I had a nap. but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And look, I haven't had a crack at esports. I had a crack at trying to play footy. I can't, right? So there's no you're doing something. Yeah, you're doing something you can do. Well, you know what? I can't play footy. Yeah. I'm not an elite at games, right? But I like watching other people do it who are really good, because I've had enough experience to know when I'm seeing something good.
Yeah.
And that's what I reckon. That's what in esports you watch an esport, a game that you know a little bit about, and you go, oh, that's a really good move.
Well, that's one thing with Dota International. Footy. Yeah, when the Dota International comes around, they have specifically the newbie stream. And so basically it'll be like, okay, so why he's doing this is because this, and they'll drive that. It'll be a little bit more hype casting as opposed to being that really kind of, he has to increase it, or he has to farm this, or he has to increase blah, blah. More of that is like, that crazy thing. So what he's done here is he's done blah, 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 and goes in that little bit more detail of why something is cool and why they've done, why these pro players have done it. Anyway, I agree with you. I feel at a certain point, the generational gap kicks in, and good comedians...
Did I say Tigers won't make the 8?
Yeah.
Did I? I don't think I did. Anyway, if I did, I was wrong. So they're probably going to win the flag again, because their only competition is Melbourne.
My only beautiful thing would be if Melbourne beats them. That would just be the best story of the year.
Look, if Melbourne, they didn't have Dusty for the second half against Melbourne.
Yeah, like I say,
and Melbourne,
to me,
I don't think that was that convincing. The Dogs couldn't get close. They didn't have Dusty. If Dusty's back, they lose by 15 goals.
I realise more than ever.
They started footy.
That the Tigers' main advantage in the entire, in the football space, is they just have the best physiotherapists. Because for one man to carry the weight of 20 other men and still be able to stand up straight, it's so amazing. Like, I've never seen a more one-sided thing. Bashahuli had a good game. I'm like, yeah,
he's actually a really good player.
He'd be a good player in any other team, but he'd just be a good player. Like,
he'd be in their best four.
If Dusty went to Sydney, like the rumours reckon, Sydney would be doing the same thing. I tell you, the premierships will follow him until he retires.
Dusty Martin in any of the top 9 teams, and they're a chance at a flag. He's that good. But in saying that, they have a good structure, and the guys know very well what they've got to do.
Yeah,
they're very well drilled.
That's
a good team. Hawks used to be like that.
Yeah, I would say that was what the Hawks did well, except that we had a few more options. The other, I'll tell you, every time
Brad Hill was good.
Every time Jeff Kennett walks back through that door, the place just like all the toilets overflow and it fills with shit again. Like it's just
Kennett. Let's not talk about him.
Yeah.
I was going to argue about Richmond now. I was going to say, a sport that does, that you talked about in Dota, the explaining stuff.
Yeah.
A sport that does that excellently is Formula One.
Yeah.
Were they really going to
and again, credit to the Americans, because the Americans now own Formula One.
Well, they've turned that into... It's worth watching for they do a breakdown of the engines, and that's really good. A sport that does it really badly is AFL.
Yeah.
Because the commentators...
Cricket.
They
Cricket,
got no idea what they're doing. I don't watch much cricket anymore, because cricket's kind of dead to me since all the gambling stuff, and then the team became a bunch of... a little bit up themselves, a bit wankers, but...
my favourite clip that I'll just watch ever again is Steve Smith crying that he got a ban for cheating, and I'm like, you cheated, or you enabled the cheaters. So either way, you deserve your ban. Take your year, take your lumps.
You can understand why he felt bad, because I'm sure he was chatting to Mark Warren and Shane Warne, going, "Oh, that's not fair, is it?" So anyway,
what do you have to take a year off?
We start doing a sports podcast.
So
Okay, now I've got some serious gaming news.
We go NHL if you want. They've just had they're coming to the Stanley Cup. So
who's this?
The NHL, the hockey.
Yeah. Oh, we used to have friends who were Canadian, not Stevova.
Yeah.
And they used to have like Canada Day or something, and
they still do that in Australia now. They have like the match in the...
Yeah, so we used to go around there and we'd have a drink and watch ice hockey. Yeah. And ice hockey is my second favourite game after AFL.
Yeah.
It's hard to play. I tell you what, anybody who knows Survivor, he plays that. Don't mess with him.
I've always said I've got to teach myself to skate backwards, because I feel like I'd have fun playing ice hockey. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's...
I reckon Steve would give you a run for your
Yeah. I've watched him play.
Actually, not little.
And I saw him just fucking straight up cop an elbow to the jaw. Comes off. He's holding his face because he's pouring out blood. Yeah. Gets off the field. He's fucking cursing. He just... And they got him, like they got the guy back in the end. I just remember it. And they ended up winning. They won by 2 goals.
Yeah, only a few weeks back, he put a video on his Facebook page of him evening up with some guy, and he just bang. Yeah. And then, so there's an image or reputation that video game people have, and video game journos. Steve's not it.
Yeah,
so, I tell you that.
Well, I remember.
Actually, it's Australian video game journos. Because if you have a look around, Australian video game journos tend to be not like the US.
They're a bit yobs. There's still a bit of yob in a lot of the Australian journos.
The US ones seem to be really precious. Yeah. Really soft.
I remember when we were at the
Australian ones don't mess with.
Can you see my scar in this thing?
There's some really muscly dude used to work with. What are we doing here? Is this an arm cast now?
My scar. So it's like that long. You can see it there.
I don't want the back of my head. You want to see that? Keep going.
That was from... So it was me, Steve, and a bunch of other journos at this Medal of Honor thing. Now, obviously, the game was a stinker, so they sent a bunch of us there. They dumped us...
You're on the take, weren't you?
They dumped us in the middle of Sydney Harbour. Like, they literally pulled a boat up. And so, all right, how'd you get? And we're like, really? Like, no one told us to keep our electronics not on us or anything. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought them. So we had to jump over the side of the boat. Didn't know where we were going. Found our way there eventually. And ended up going to like some like little army.
What, you jumped in the water?
Yeah, had to swim to shore.
Commandos.
Had to swim to shore.
that would have killed half of Polygon staff.
Yeah. And so then they had us do this like exercise. It was like cool. So you get your fake MP5, you get your gas mask, you get all that, right? And so one of them was leopard crawling, and one of them was like thing. And Steve being the fit gentleman that he is and thing, it was me and him. And I'm not. And this was I was in better shape, but I wasn't in Steve good shape.
Yeah, well, you're a tank.
But me, but yeah,
he's like he'd be like what do you call it, Marine?
Yeah, and so, but me and him were the only two every time back and forth because we just couldn't help ourselves. And then the competitive juices kick in, and suddenly I can breathe, so much better. And so. And I remember because one of the things was they had a guy sitting there, and he was spotting us to see if he could see us coming through the brush to set up next to him, right? Mm-hmm. So the idea was you had to line up a shot, and if he didn't see you passed, right? So the idea was to fill your gear with like branches and stuff so you're camouflaged.
I have no idea where this is going.
So I'm chopping I'm chopping trees, and I've gone.
We've been Minecraft
now. I've hit it, and I've just gone. I'm like, fucking come on, you fuck! It's gone straight in my arm and stuck there. So I didn't have to.
So
hold
you did
it.
the big angry monkey thing,
where
the banana didn't open, so you smashed it.
Yeah, right. And so I'm like, shit. And so straight away it's just bucket. It's fucking just gushing. And I'm like, I didn't get my vein. I didn't get my proper thing. So
Did you sign the thing before you started this?
So, no, I'm getting to the best bit, right? Okay. And so I rip off my fucking bandana, tie it off myself, keep going, get to the end. He's like, oh, you weren't technically lying down, but he didn't see you, to be fair. So that's pretty good for a bloke your size. I go, do you mind if I go to the first aid and just see, like, just gushing with blood? He's like, fuck, you're right. I said, it looks fine. It's just, I didn't get my veins. I just cut the flesh. He was like, yeah, just go sort them out. So EA, who hired us for the event, gave me the GoPro.
This is for the gamers out there. This is what publishers do to Australian video game journalists.
So keep in mind. So EA
only the strong survive in Australia.
EA's production company was stupid enough to give me the GoPro. So the GoPro caught me pissing on a rock because we were like they were taking too long.
We don't like Duke Nukem style.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah. And so they caught that, and then they caught me like flipping the skin.
Stop pissing around.
So I've got this chunk of flesh hanging outside my arm, and I'm just going like this, back and forth, like, fucking hell, that's pretty bad. As I'm walking to the guy just like doesn't stitch me because he don't have stitches. He goes, this is outside my pay grade. I'm like, just tape it up, it'll be fine. So I did the rest of it with like this like bucket of like I said to him, I said, look, just tape it over. And that'll be fine.
Tampon in and put stuff on it.
That'll be World War II. Yeah. Moral story is, EA don't invite me to press junkets anymore, and the production company, because I knew the bloke who was running it at the time, he was like, I'm never giving you a GoPro again.
Don't worry about being
moral story is, the only person who could, who was keeping pace with me when we were doing all the stupid exercises was Steve.
Okay, I'll put a challenge out there. Australian video game journos versus US video game journos. Let's do one of those.
Depends.
Things.
I mean, like,
let's see how it goes.
You get some coconas. You get some.
Come on, Ben Katura.
Let's have you can't make it too easy. Like you just.
Okay, sorry. Well,
but I mean, okay, but you
actually the Kotaku ones.
You say that if we're going to throw that around, there were certain journos who split their pants, then got angry, and then played the game and went home. I'm not going to say names because I don't really want to say names, but there was more than one. There was one in that situation, and I remember one time I went up for a cricket event, and suddenly all the journos who were mouthy on Twitter weren't mouthy when I was sitting in the room. It was funny. It was just an interesting interaction. Like they didn't want to run their mouths anymore.
So I give too much away on this because I know people might go through that and go, "That's interesting." I'm talk about it. So, anyone wants to know more, message him.
So I can hang myself now.
And before you say anything rough, try and get a load of how big he is in real life before you get mouthy. Yeah.
Just make sure you can outrun me.
I'm not a small person. Have a look at this. So anyway, here we go. A Chinese man.
Yes.
Has been channeling white gamer toxicity. Have you heard this? You don't even heard this story. You're not connecting. Okay. So a Chinese man got arrested in China for allegedly planning to kill the, I don't know, I might say this wrong, right? The developers of Genshin Impact.
Yes.
MiHoYo.
MiHoYo, yep.
Shmoyo, MiHoYo, founders. He was upset, apparently, that bunny girl costumes were removed. Okay, he was armed with a knife and he was going to kill the two owners of it, and he managed to actually get into their building.
So, have you seen what Genshin Impact looks like?
No.
So, it's the ultimate waifu game. Like, look at this shit.
Looks good.
It's waifu, and that's Paimon. So, Paimon's the creepy.
Actually, it looks like something my daughter would be playing.
And that's what it is. It's like Weeb, but Chinese Weeb. So as opposed to, when Westerners make Chinese games, like Japanese-looking games, it's China doing it. But it's like Legend of Zelda-y, but it's loot boxes to unlock characters and stuff like that. So it's So that's why he was upset. But, I mean, not to be that guy, but if you want to talk about, gun control doesn't work, imagine if he'd had a gun. Like, he only had a knife, so that's why he didn't...
Yeah, it's very hard to kill lots of people with a knife.
Yeah.
Anyway, but, thing is... See, China's only had video games since 2015, right?
Reasonably.
So about 6 years, right? So they don't have the same culture as the West. And that is a very Western story. That's a very American story. And I read it and I thought, that's interesting because that's the sort of thing normally you would get your Polygon and that would be going on about, toxic male gaming stuff. Toxic white game. Yeah, they do all that stuff. He's a Chinese guy doing it. They've got no history of video gaming, really.
Yeah.
So they've come of age.
my only deflection that, and I know this is deep down, this is the point you're making, is that entitled wealth privilege isn't exclusive to a particular ethnicity, and that, I mean that
it is
like,
Ari Kotaku.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like that's the argument of like I feel like what might have been true even 20 years ago is slowly not becoming true, and eventually it's going to flip, and the conversations are going to leave it behind. Like, what are we doing to stop like that? I mean, that is pretty scary. I mean, imagine you're some dev. And you just take bunny costumes, but you didn't even do anything bad. Like they didn't even mention Taiwan. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they mentioned Taiwan and they were getting stabbed, you'd go.
Well, our whole feed just went quiet.
Yeah,
watching in China, it's just flatlined. So a Chinese man got arrested for planning to kill the I think it was the owners of the developer of Genshin Impact because bunny costumes were removed. Apparently, pornography is illegal in China.
Yes,
I was reading part of this, and if you put pornography on the internet, you can actually have lifetime jail.
Yes,
and a few people have had that happen. Some people got it reduced to like 12 years, which seems a little bit over the top considering how much there is on the internet.
Yeah.
So he was upset the bunny got. Because that's all they got, bunny girl costumes in the games, and got inside the building with a knife. So if you hadn't like a
imagine if you had an automatic pump action shotgun or something.
That's a scary story I've made light of. But there you go. China's finally joined the
Congratulations! Welcome to the West. Yeah.
Welcome to, yes. I didn't read about that in Kotaku for some reason. Anyway, all right. Now Sega is selling NFT. You've heard about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Blockchain.
Did you see that
things.
Oscars one? That god awful grotesque Oscars one. It was like a gold.
I see the Oscars.
It was a golden head render of Chasmin. What's his name? Boswick, the black actor who died from.
Oh yeah, Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised he didn't win.
I think everyone was surprised he didn't win because Anthony Hopkins won and didn't even have a speech prepared.
Also, he's white.
Yeah. Well, no, but I mean,
I thought that was illegal. I thought they passed the law.
No. But also, I mean, you're getting a little bit alt-right. You're gonna have to calm down, Joe. You're just gonna have to calm down, Joe. Like you eventually have to admit you're a moron.
Like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Jesus Christ! Yeah. Well, that's another.
I like Joe Rogan.
Another checklist. Yeah. Cool. Like.
Hang on. I'll be right back. I just got to catch up on the Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
By the way, I've never listened to.
But I feel like if you have a performance like that, performances like he had in an Oscar year and you die. I mean, Heath Ledger won. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that was nowhere near his best performance. So, but then they did this weird.
Heath Ledger's best performance was A Knight's Tale.
I would say it's Two Hands, but I understand what you mean.
Oh yeah, okay. Right, but Knight's Tale is cute.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, as much as anything else, he was good in Brokeback Mountain. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a good movie. Like,
I never watched that, and there's no reason why I didn't.
Yeah.
It's just not really something I thought would be interesting. But I wasn't like alt-writing avoiding it. It came up on the thing. I went, it's not really.
It's very dry. It's like a lot of those kind of movies.
It should be dry.
It's
a bit rough.
But a bit rough, yeah. But yeah, no, they made this like grotesque 3D model non-fungible token of his head. It's like a bust, and it's like this macabre fucking death mask of Chadwick Boseman. It was just so bizarre, man. And someone actually commissioned that and thought that was a good idea. So I do not have a high opinion.
The dude from Silence of the Lambs would be right.
Yeah.
Is the guy though?
Yeah.
But you see that they commission like paintings and statues, and sometimes they unveil them and they just don't look like the person. So I haven't seen this Boseman.
I mean, you look at like the Archibald Prize and stuff. It's like, this one, the Archibald Prize. I'm like, isn't the Archibald Prize for portraiture? Like, isn't it meant to look like the person? Like, if you want to do one for like impressionist art, no worries, but don't call it the Archibald Prize.
The paintings on. Did you watch Fisk?
No.
Kitty Flanagan show the paintings. He won't watch that.
I heard Fisk is alright actually.
The paintings done by Glenn Robbins were actually better than most Archibalds. You haven't watched Fisk, so you don't know what I mean by that. But anyone's watched Fisk will be going. Anyway, here we go. Next, where was it going? The NFTs. Non-fund. Yeah. Okay, Sega. Okay, basically Sega's selling NFT, whatever it is. They're selling digital assets basically. Yeah. So it's artwork, music, stuff from classic games. They're going to be doing it for new stuff. It's basically an NFT is whatever in here. It's like when you buy something that's got a one-off certificate
for something that people Gerard's audience will understand. It's like a rare Pepe. It's quite literally a rare Pepe. Like it's what it is. Blockchain art.
your age is all like, oh, Pepe's like a thing. Anybody under like 20 is totally into Pepe, and they're not all right.
If you go to the biggest lament of my
it's only your age group.
The biggest lament of my generation. No. The biggest lament of my generation is what they did to Pepe the Frog, because it is such a great.
Teenage kids are all over him.
Yeah. And again, that's that when they talk about like that gateway drug to. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Moral story is
gateway drug.
I hate NFTs.
That's like when some idiot used to go about crypto fest.
Yeah, no, all money is fake, but crypto is faker than most. And to add NFTs, so you don't have the rights to publish it.
Bill Maher did a thing on that.
Yeah, you don't have the rights to publish it. You don't have the rights. You don't technically own it in the sense that. You don't have the rights to that particular
It's just a one of a kind.
Yeah.
It's basically if you went to a sports
memorabilia like a cell from a cartoon, Oz, yes-ish. Except that with a cell from a cartoon, you can put that in your house, you can do it kind of what you want with it as long as you don't necessarily reproduce it. But even then, you could take a photo of it and say, here's a cell that I got. How cool is it? And that would be allowed, but you couldn't take a screenshot of your NFT and share that and go, this is my NFT.
But your NFT,
because that's illegal.
The NFT is saying that that's your own, that you're the only owner.
No, but you don't own it.
But you do, don't you?
You can't reproduce it. You can't show it off outside of particular circumstances. There's like a lot of rules that go with how you can use it.
Didn't somebody pay a couple $100,000 for Nyan Cat?
Yes, but it's not. Then
that fire chick, the girl in front of the fire.
Yeah, but then there's no. Okay, so there's still no production.
Memes.
There's still no production rights to that, so you can't take a photo of it and put it on the internet because that would be replicating their art. So you don't have a clearance to do that.
Did you know if you get baby photos taken at Kmart, they own them?
Yes. Yeah, that is a weird one. Yeah,
I reckon most parents don't know that, but there you go. Okay, cool.
Yeah, they can put them in whatever adverts they want. Is basically it. They find like the least ugly babies and put them in adverts.
Well, they own them. So they own the pictures of your babies. So Sega's basically going to sell NFT stuff, artwork.
How many are you buying? How many you put in for already?
Images, music. Only the Sonic ones. And they've done it from they say classic IPs that are still popular.
Yeah,
we know what they are. It is, and so but they're going to do it for new IPs in the future. Yeah. So it's basically you're getting your special. Downloadable stuff.
So it's what it'll be is they'll do like Yakuza 8 and it'll be cool. Yakuza 8 comes with this. Here's the special edition, comes with XYZ. And then you can buy the super special edition for $2,000 and it comes with one of 100 NFT tokens that are character art or whatever the case will be. And you own number 46.
Which is what you do with sports memorabilia.
Yeah. They're very similar.
You can buy any number of AFL players now doing Michael Jordan pose.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like, guys, invent something new. All right, now...
why not do a Kazali pose? Like, do we still talk about Kazali and things like that?
Or Boomer.
Yeah. Jezelenko.
Jezza. Yeah. Boomer. Yeah. You should have seen when they tried to call Jeremy Cameron from Geelong Jezza. Because I wanted to make it the Tom and Jerry Jezza thing.
Because Tom Hawkins.
Because Geelong fans are really funny. And but all the Carlton fans started ringing up SEN. Can't call him, there's only one Jezza. And he goes, okay, Boomer. Only one in history.
You got to give Carlton something.
I get it. Some names you can't use again, like Adolf. You just can't really use. Well, Jezza's not like that. Anyway, and in fact, one of my relatives calls me Jezza. But anyway, so take that, Carlton fans. All right, now. Sony have released numbers of the number of PS5 shipped, not sold. You know the Sony thing. You know how it works with Sony. They basically made and put on trucks or boats. They could be sitting in the Suez Canal, but they've shipped
quite literally
7.8 million PS5s. Okay. Their target was 7.6. Now they're probably in Harvey Norman warehouses, but that's a lot still.
They're probably in mid-level distribution warehouses, and they're looking at how to send them out. Do you know what I mean? So the thing with it is normally you're right. Normally the shipped stat is bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. In this situation, you know that the second they're available, they're getting sold. There's just
they probably are. Yeah. In the old days, they used to use ship numbers because they probably don't have leverage anymore. But it used to be if you were like Harvey Norman or JFI, you wanted to sell Sony gear, you had to carry a certain number of PlayStations.
Yeah, had to carry a certain weight.
And so that way they said ship numbers. They weren't sold. Yeah. And then the store then had to get rid of them because they wanted to sell Triatrons, right?
And so this is how it used to work with even DVDs and stuff like that. You would just get a credit on your next shipment from them for, let's say. You then sold. You bought the stock of them for $70, and you were selling it for $100, and you didn't sell any of it, or you sold half of it. So you've got 50 copies of it sitting at $100 that you paid for it. Next shipment that comes along for their next game, that cost you $70 a game, they would subtract, say, $25 a game.
A friend of mine used to run Game Mania.
Yes.
In Ringwood, and he was telling me how it worked. I know him pretty well. I should actually get him on one of these to actually talk about exactly how. No, before that. Before that. No, and well, Costa's an S and a penny cracker shits with me. Before the one that sold it to Costa, and he told me how that worked. And so it was. I reckon most people buying games wouldn't realise, but the numbers are imaginary. But anyway, where was I going with? So they've shipped 7.8 million PS5s, 116 or just under 116 million PS4s.
Yeah,
6 of them I can see here in this room, and one's propping up a heater. What's going on there?
No, I think it just went
1,
there.
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the floor over there where TVs.
Yeah,
you collecting? You got a problem. You need.
Okay, so you can see 6
there. You've got to admit it first.
Keep in mind, you can see 6 there, and there's still another 5 locally that are being used for events at the moment.
That's not helping. Still got
another 8 in the garage.
That's good. If you can admit it, you can beat it.
It's a Capra unit. So I've only ever bought one PlayStation 4. So
they're white PS4s. Actually, I won't say where you are.
Yeah.
Now that I've said that, but they're not PS5s. Don't break in. They're
try.
PS4s.
Like good luck to you.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I don't sleep during the night time, so if you're going to do it during
wear
the
full
day,
body armor. I recommend if you've been playing like a Rainbow Six game, just have a look, see what they're wearing, and just put some of that on before you come here. Okay, now the other one is 109 million PlayStation Network users.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that count paid? Is that specifically paid, or is that?
I just know that was just a number, right?
Okay.
47.6 million PS Plus.
So that's more a more interesting number. Okay, yeah.
So how does that compare, you might ask, to the Xbox?
For gold.
Ask. Because I've got the numbers.
Okay, how does that compare to gold then?
Funny you should ask.
Yeah.
Actually, it's higher. Okay, so Game Pass has 18 million members.
Isn't it up to 20-something now?
Maybe that's... Maybe
I've heard it was in low 20s now.
Okay, cool. 18 million is what I googled.
Yeah.
So I rang, what's his name? Who's the guy?
Phil.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, I said, Steve gave me a number. So, and there's 90 million Xbox Live people per month. So
is that Xbox Live Gold?
Yeah, see, I should have written that down. That word. It's sort of important one, isn't it? So there you go.
That is the important one, yeah.
Anyway, so PlayStation at the moment, the PS5 is doing pretty well, I'd say, based on that. And PlayStation Network, I know that's strange because there's...
Yeah, keep in mind that
why?
PlayStation... Because keep in mind that a lot of people moved away from Xbox platforms to be the shooter... So for PlayStation to become the shooter in the FIFA console.
That's my next story.
It always had the FIFA crowd. And then Call of Duty did the exclusive deal with them after the EA deal with Microsoft. And so there's a lot of people who they'll only buy 1 or 2 games a year. There'll be a Call of Duty game, and then they have to pay $80 for
okay, well,
Plus.
talking quality shooters and the PlayStation.
It's going to be Fortnite.
Yeah, quality shooters. Okay, so this is some stuff that you might have more to add on this. It's come out of the legal shenanigans going on at the moment.
No, then it's definitely Fortnite.
Yeah, without picking that. Okay, Fortnite's cash cow is PlayStation.
I do find that really interesting. I'm not going to lie.
46.8% of revenue that's generated by Fortnite is from PlayStation consoles.
Huge. That is huge.
You know why? Because they've got nothing else to play. Because they're all sitting around going, oh, well, I buy this game for $120. That's a fair bit.
Returnal, $130.
I wish I had something like Game Pass so I could play something good. But no, Fortnite it is.
I'm not a fan of $130 games. I'm just going to reiterate that point.
Play Fortnite.
Yeah.
You bought your console. What are you going to do with it?
46%.
All these remakes of PS4 games.
Let's go through
Last of Us again.
Let's go through the platforms that it's on. It's on PC. It's on iPhone.
Is it
on
Fortnite?
Android? Yeah.
Okay, do you want to know the breakdown of the other percentages?
If you got them, yeah.
Well, funny you should ask.
He's done research for once and he's happy, yeah.
Shush. So, 27.5% of Fortnite revenue comes from Xbox consoles. So
okay.
27.5%.
That's more than I thought it would be.
27.5%? Yeah, 27.5%. That is still a fair bit. But
so we're at 73 at the moment.
Yeah, only 7, and this is where the bit from the course case came out. For all the fuss that Epic's been going on about on lowering Apple's thing, only 7%, single digits percent of Fortnite revenue comes from iOS.
Right.
So
they must...
What are they fighting for?
They must see an expansion. They must see that there must be a reason that they're fighting this so hard. Because two-prong. Number one,
Are you trying to lead me into the next
I don't think they expected Apple to turn around and start trying to ban Unreal Engine games on the platform. And I feel like the only reason they're following this through now is because they had to go down that route to fight to defend Unreal Engine games appearing on iPhone. But the second part of that is only 7%. I mean...
18.7% is the rest. Android, Switch, PC.
And again, that also goes back to why Sony Gaming...
PC's low. PC's lower than 7%.
That makes sense, though. I'm not surprised there. Because realistically, the people playing it are all 12s, and the only people I know who play on PC is people like Proc, you know what I mean, and Ninja. They're the only people I know who play on PC.
Is Ninja still getting paid?
Yeah, I mean, does the Switch numbers there, or...?
No, it's just that
the rest.
18.7 is the rest. Right. So it means they're all under 7%, and they'll add up to 18.
Okay, two-pronged. Number one, it makes sense why Sony were putting money back into Epic, then, if that's this breakdown.
Well, Epic's doing really well out of Sony, because if they're getting almost half their Fortnite revenue from, and they're giving them $1 billion, maybe something's going on there.
But you got to remember how much money Fortnite is making day after day after day after day. Like
from PlayStation
players. Quite literally tens of millions of dollars a day is how much money it's making.
Yeah, and it's just making the Trump of video games just more powerful.
So, I mean, you assume there's, 50 million kids in America, and let's say 5 million of them love the game. And that's not including worldwide, and it's loved worldwide. You know what I mean? Like, if they're all buying, every fortnight they're getting their allowances and they're spending $20 on V-Bucks, you know what I mean? You got 5 million by 14, 5 million by 2 by 20. That's a lot of money.
Wasn't a credit card hack recently which was used to actually get V-Bucks?
Yes.
That's Nintendo. Yeah, no, that's to get V-Bucks. So they're obviously worth a fair bit. I'd be interested to see a country breakdown, because it's got to be Yanks.
Again, I feel like it's another one where it's overrepresented in Australia. Like, what game were we talking about the other day that I was amazed at how much it had sold?
Fortnite.
It's Cyberpunk. 500,000 copies.
Last podcast.
Fucking, that was huge. Like, again, it's such interesting times.
And
these numbers,
not many returns.
These numbers are insane on an Australian.
There's a lot of money in the video game industry. It seems sort of scabby then when they don't pay developers bonuses and stuff and sack them and move them in other areas. Does seem like if an industry loaded with cash, it's got some pretty shitty habits.
Yeah, again, we took that bad habit. Again, we had the chance to do things differently. This has always been the great lament of gaming. We had the chance to do things differently. We had the chance to do sports differently, and yet every esports broadcast is full of gambling.
That's from a lack of imagination. And the people. It's like what happened to YouTube. The people from the existing industries get involved. Yeah. They can't even imagine something different. So they go, how you should do it? You should do it like we've always been doing it, which nobody wanted. And it's arrogant. It's just their heads are up their asses, but they've got enough influence to come in and change it.
I agree.
And I think esports is definitely, with the gambling and that, it's just gone down the wrong track. And you're right. It's so disappointing. Look, I'm still love it, but it had a chance.
I do find it interesting that
Footy did the same thing. Footy jumped on gambling. Look at gambling now with AFL. It's like you have these chances, but what they end up doing, they go, nah.
One of the worst photos I've ever seen in this country.
Banner ads on your websites.
We've had some awful photos taken of things that have happened in this country. You know what I mean? Like, Lindy Chamberlain crying, all these iconic photos of just bad shit that happens in Australia. One of the worst things I've ever seen is a kid asking Tom Waterhouse for his autograph because he'd seen him on TV. Like, how abhorrent is that? Like, your only value is being born into a Waterhouse and then leveraging that into being a bookie. Like, you know what I mean? Your old man can't go near race courses because he's a cheater. Like, you know what I mean?
He painted a racehorse, didn't he?
So it's
in the rain or something.
I'm nearly certain that is a lifetime ban.
It is pretty funny though. Like that's kind of the funniest crime I reckon I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
literally painting a racehorse a different colour.
It's funny. Aussies and Irish, Aussies and Irish, especially are known as like big horse punters, right? But I tell you, one country people sleep on, and that's Japan. Like, horse racing in Japan is huge. So huge, it's crazy. Like, anyway, a moral story is I don't like using gambling apps and things as things. So that's why whenever kind of non-endemic sponsors come in, people like, and obviously from still fringe, borderline bad industries like energy drinks is the obvious one, but fast food and Nissin Cup Noodle was a sponsor for AEL for a while, and of course that went nowhere because anyway. But yeah, the fact that we use gambling sponsors, I mean, we could have done things different and we didn't. We decided we were going to go the same route as every other sport, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, it's a lack of imagination.
And culturally, there's a lot of things I don't like about how we just followed the old rules and did it that way.
Yeah, be better.
And there's nothing wrong with, again, I said this to a lot of people. As a person who wants to make a chat show in 2021, like a TV chat show in 2021, I don't think there's necessarily a problem with the old ways, but we just took the wrong lessons. We took the wrong learnings, and that's what we're running with, and it makes me mad. So,
all right, another Epic thing, because I've got nothing to add to that, because that's fair. Epic apparently does not want Fortnite on xCloud.
Yes.
They see xCloud as a competitor.
Yes.
Now, that might lead into another story, though.
So the only thing I would say there is, based on that sentence and based on how little iPhone it is, right? One has to assume that if they are allowed to drop it to 12, 20%, whatever, right? The Apple's take in, that they intend to expand directly into mobile. So they intend to make that so much more of a thing, because why would xCloud bother them if that wasn't the case? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is all setting up for some grand plan Sweeney has to basically dominate the App Store.
Yeah, Donald Sweeney's up to something.
Yeah.
What did I say? Horse racing, yeah.
Would exist without gambling, for sure, Oz. For sure.
In fact, we're getting to the point where one day AFL won't exist without gambling too. Okay, now, that does... Now, the last thing about Fortnite not being on xCloud, Microsoft has reduced the share they take from games on their store.
On PC store, let's be clear.
Only PC, okay. Yeah. From 30% down to 12%.
Yeah. So that was what Luke was clarifying with me earlier when I joked about him.
Called him a solo.
Linking the same thing twice.
But don't listen to the big bear.
Yeah.
He's just a big
I love Luke. Luke's random photoshops make my day. They make me worth going into the Discord for.
Luke is actually a bit of a New Game Plus favourite. Yeah. Amongst the people that count.
Yeah. That is an oof.
That's Jason.
Yeah. That is an oof.
It's only when you have to impress.
But yeah, no. But they announced this out of the blue, right as the Epic Apple thing is about to go to trial. I mean, that's pretty interesting timing. You know what I mean? Like,
well, 30% down to 12% now. There is a bit in there that struck me, and it said Epic famously only takes 12%, but apparently only if the game is exclusive to the Epic Game Store. It doesn't have to be
exclusive forever. It just has to be exclusive for the agreed time.
That's it. They never mention that. Yeah. They just convert. Now, Microsoft's drop from 30 to 12 doesn't matter if you're exclusive or anything. Yeah. It's just flat. Don't have to be anything conditions on it. But I didn't know that Epic's 12% is conditional on your game being exclusive to the Epic Game Store, and that's a little bit of a surprise. That's something that everybody has just forgotten to mention. For some reason.
Yeah, because it didn't
an important point.
It didn't suit the narrative, and that's always.
It's an important thing.
Yeah,
it matters. It's I don't know what the number is without it. Apparently, that also, in fact, that 12% includes 5% of your Unreal Engine license. But anyway, I was surprised by that. So Epic's not really doing 12% commission on everything. They're only doing it for the exclusive.
I think in a lot of ways, Epic's trying to pull an Amazon here, right? Where they're trying to run at a loss so hard that they force either their other competitors out of business or they force their other competitors to compete on that same level. Do you know what I mean?
And option B is what's kind of happening.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to work out the way it is. Because it's one of those things where, Amazon killed bookstores because they could sell odds and ends from China for $5 that they paid 50 cents for. So they made all their money.
And they could analyse the data of sales, so then they can compete with the people who are selling stuff through Amazon.
Correct.
Cheaper things,
Yeah. So keep in mind that's how Amazon did.
But they're not going to destroy bookstores because they're all cashed up.
Yeah.
Like even Valve would be pretty cashed up.
I mean, Valve's privately owned. They don't need to.
Yeah, but it's not a lot of money. Microsoft would have extremely deep.
Gaben wants to move the Seattle headquarters to New Zealand. Do you know what I mean? If anyone else said that, you'd go, how could you... Like, no shareholder would sign off on that. It's like, Gaben doesn't care. He has billions of dollars. For him to build it, he could pay $100 million out of his own pocket for a new building. and still make his money.
So what's Epic doing? Epic's lowering the stuff, but they're not going to hurt Microsoft.
No.
They're not going to hurt Microsoft financially. They're not going to hurt Steam financially.
Yeah.
They're not going to hurt Apple financially. Apple has $1 trillion in the bank.
Yeah.
I don't actually get their play.
I feel like that's why Microsoft are coming on board now, because never let your enemy, never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake, right? So I feel like they're watching Epic make this play, and while the way that Apple has confronted them, obviously they weren't allowed to put xCloud as a native app. It has to go through a website. They couldn't put Office on as a native app. It has to go through the website. Yeah. And all that is real garbage. It just doesn't play well on your phone, right? So realistically, they were like, if you buy subscriptions, they had to pay the 30% to Apple. And so in Microsoft's eyes, Epic is more of a problem there. And not Epic, Apple is more of a problem there. Epic, while they've had their falling outs and they've had their issues, is less of an enemy. So let them fight. Put the pressure up. It's like shouting from the crowd. It's like, what'd you say about his mum? You know what I mean? You hand, on this side you hand him a bat, and then you sneak around the other side you hand him a crowbar or something. You know what I mean? It's like they're just screaming from the crowd, what do you mean the bank's out of money?
Was it Late Line with Mike Moore, the show that Naughty Dog did? Yeah. And they had all the back in the time the Serbs and Croatians in Bosnia, and they had a whole heap in the studio, and they had a plant there yelling, I reckon it's all the Serbians' fault, and so on, just to get one arguing. Well, that's what Sony's we said that a little while ago. That's what Sony's doing as well. I reckon we're just pumping money in.
Well, I feel like if 46% of Epic's money is coming from Sony, that is more of a bona fide relationship. Whereas, if Epic were to lose this and go bankrupt tomorrow, I mean, Sony loses 46% of that income.
They're loaded with Chinese money.
And so I feel like
it's
that's
China versus Apple versus Microsoft versus Gabe.
Yeah. And I feel like they're the big players in this, and we're just watching it. We're watching. This is Game of Thrones, but the annoying nerdy version.
Wish I was a lawyer.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So you got too much of a soul, and that
Yeah. No, I actually know the difference between right and wrong. That's why I'm not a lawyer or a Liberal Party politician. So, where we at?
We should wrap.
I've run out. It's an hour. I've run out of news actually, so I did fit everything in. You got anything needs to be added?
Stuff coming up. We got Couch Rose League back on Tuesday. Watch this space for some cool events we've got coming up in the next month or so. We'll share it through our channels as always. RMI TV's letting us back in slowly. We have to do all the COVID paperwork and all that, so we're going through that at the moment. So hopefully that starts up soon.
You're under 50, you can get a good jab.
Okay, what, Pfizer? Do we even have them in Australia? I'm 1B, so I can actually go and get one. So
yeah, my wife got Pfizer.
Yeah.
I'm not excited about getting the Clotty one, even though they reckon it's only like one person in me, and I still don't want to be that guy.
But I mean, look,
it doesn't make me an anti-vax. I just like the good one.
To be fair,
I'll pay extra.
Yeah, to be fair, it's one of those things where it's like I'll pay extra class privilege. But realistically, there's a good chance. There's a 1 in 100,000 chance.
Okay. Maybe keep it under $1,000.
Yeah. There's a good chance.
$1,000,000.
You'll have a negative reaction. There's a good chance you'll have a negative reaction.
I get
any
that.
Vaccine.
I get that, but the Pfizer's had 0 reports of negative reactions. So I'd just rather.
Keep my eyes low. It does. There have been rumours of infections, but it is literally 58,000 people out of the 46 million of a certain batch that were given in America have reported technically being COVID infected afterwards. Now, if you do the math on that, it's still like 0.00003%.
We're talking gambling before. It does come down to odds. The one that looks safer, I'd prefer.
Yeah.
I don't think that's being anti-vax. People go, that's anti. No, I'm not being
anti-vax. It's a little bit anti-vax.
I'll go out tomorrow and get it if I can get the one I want.
It's not the proper. It's not full anti-vax, but
I'm not. Well, I'll take the one our Prime Minister got.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
To me, that was.
I think that's fair.
You want to talk about the singular biggest undermining of the AstraZeneca was that Scott Morrison got the Pfizer. It was.
Is that what he got? Is he? I'd like his.
Yeah.
I want what he's
so
having.
as soon as he got that one.
Yeah, no, I need.
I mean, Dave Sharma's got to be sitting there going, I put all that money into AstraZeneca after I was told in the Senate committee, Allegedly.
Go get your vaccine and you can go back to RMIT.
Yeah, is the plan. So, but we'll speak to you all soon. So hopefully TV should be back very soon. Don't forget to check us out as usual, newgameplus.tv.
Newgameplus.tv, New Game Plus TV, all one word on almost every social
media. We want to get back up to weekly videos, but there's been a bit of ruckus around lately.
Not on Mr. Pillow's new social network. I haven't jumped on that one yet, because apparently that's just a Drupal website. Did you see that? Mr. Pillow?
The guy, the lifestyle pillow, whatever his name
Mr. Pillow in America. He started his own free speech social media network. Apparently it's just a Drupal website. I mean, I can make it. Anyone wants to make a free speech network, just
let me know.
Make your free speech networks all day. They're really easy to set up. So,
all right. On that note, let's go. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye-bye.